Amir and I, of course, there's only 8 teams left. We're going to rank all of these 8 teams based on how likely we think they are, based on their path, their roster, and their matchup this weekend. How likely are they to win the NFL Super Bowl, the Lombardi Trophy? Let's get into it here. Now, Amir, me and you had very similar lists. So the only difference were the 7 and 8 spot. I had the Commanders at 7. You had the Texans at 7. So at the end of the day, I think we both know that these teams have had tremendous seasons. They have great young quarterbacks, some good pieces around them, but I think they're just going to be outmatched this weekend, and this is where their season comes to an end. Amir, your thoughts on the Texans, the Commanders, and their great seasons?
You know, the Texans season, it's really crazy. They still won a division and still made the playoffs despite them completely underperforming.
Yeah,
And and
losing great pieces along the way too.
right. And so for this Texans team, I mean, going into next year, I mean, really, I mean, they have the tools, they have the pieces. Like they got to either figure some stuff out schematically, coaching wise, or on the higher up side. As if like you know, for the Commanders, on the other hand, they really, just have a bright future. Like they're just completely just like, playing above their expectations, over their levels on both sides of the ball, honestly. And for the Commanders, it's going to end this week. But I would say they have a better shot at winning this week.
Yeah, again, they have the offense to keep up with Detroit. It'll be interesting. It'll just matters on which defense in that game can get the one or the two key stops to get their offense a chance to win it all. At number 6, we both have the LA Rams. I think we both will acknowledge the fact that there is a slim chance that they can go on the road with their great offense and head coach and Sean McVay to pull off an upset here in Philadelphia. But we are both leaning, towards the Philadelphia Eagles because they just have too much. They're too complete of a roster, and unless they have a complete fumble, we
Yeah.
think that Philly's going to roll in that one. So the Rams, not only would they have to go on the road to Philly, they would then probably have to go on the road to Detroit just to make it to the Super Bowl. So they're going to be super beat up after this week, let alone after this week and next week to get to the Super Bowl. Amir, your thoughts on the Rams?
The Rams are always going to be a great and sleeper team. And I'm going to be completely honest, man. They've done a great job since 2021 of really splurging,
Yes.
doing a roster, winning it all. And then the next year, sort of, rebuilding, pretty much tearing it down. And then just completely just like revamping this defense with its young pieces. And it's crazy because the first half of the year, this defense were playing, terrible on all three levels. But they've completely just turned it up, playing great, up front especially. But it's like, it's a bad matchup this week, and it's
Now, I do
like,
want to throw out there the only team that has a Super Bowl winning coach and quarterback in the NFC, and the only one for that matter, still remaining on that side of the bracket. And number 5, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Amir, I have them winning against the Buffalo Bills, so I kept them at 5. But for the Baltimore Ravens, they have a great matchup. They won against the Bills again back in September. Can they do it again? It's hard to beat a team twice. Your thoughts on the Ravens?
yeah, the Ravens are great, and sure, this roster is Super Bowl ready, and normally I don't like to hold guys to crazy standards, but it's like honestly, like if Lamar doesn't, make the Super Bowl after getting his third MVP, I'm gonna be completely honest, like, um, you know, unless he can, completely just like plays lights out and his defense fails him, like if he doesn't go all the way, in my opinion, I think this year's a failure. This
Yeah,
roster is
again,
Super
I
Bowl
mean,
ready.
when you have all the pieces like that, maybe not all the pieces, but you have a lot of pieces, you want to eventually see your team get over the hump. The problem is number 15 is sitting there in Arrowhead. I do want to throw out there they have the second best head coach as far as playoff winning or playoff wins and as far as Super Bowls there in John Harbaugh. So they have the veteranship to get
I
this
would
team
say
to where they
too. I
need to
would say
go.
too. If I'm not mistaken, I think John Harbaugh has the most road playoff wins in history.
I didn't know that. But
I think he
again,
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense for
Yeah.
being such a tough physical team. And again, he had a lot of great players when he first started. To be fair, guys like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs, all those great players. Haloti Nada, just the name to throw out there. The Buffalo Bills at number 4. This is a team that at home. They're 9-0 at home this season. They did everything they could. They pulled out all the tricks last week to beat the Denver Broncos, and they did it pretty handily. What did they score? 35 unanswered points. This
Something
is a
crazy like
team
that.
that it all relies on their defense. If they can get enough help for Josh Allen, this is a team that honestly most people can see winning it all, right? And in pretty much in dominant fashion. They already beat the Chiefs. They have, again, Josh Allen, it's hard to beat a team twice. They know what they need to do now to beat the Baltimore Ravens, but can they execute? And can they get enough help around Josh Allen, number 17? Amir, your thoughts on the Bills before we get into the top three?
Man, focus on Derrick Henry this week, man. Like if I'm the Buffalo defense and Lamar beats me with his arm, I'm gonna live with it, But it's like you can't have Derrick Henry starting a game off running for like a 70-yard touchdown, like seriously. And it's crazy too because it's like when I went back and I watched that game, you could just like see the presence of Bernard and Milano and Tyron Johnson being gone. Like, the defenses look bad up front, and it's just crazy too because it's like the problem isn't only Derrick Henry. Like the problem is when they come out in those two tight end sets and they got Ricard Lee blocking as well. Because it's like when those guys get to that second level against this Buffalo defense that it sits a nickel the whole entire time, it's a bad matchup. And so if I'm Buffalo, you have your guys back, you got Milano back. He could spy Lamar, make it somewhat difficult on him, and so really just focus on Derrick Henry.
Yeah, again, battle of the MVPs this weekend. That is going to be a very exciting matchup. And number three might be the most complete team in the NFL, Amir, top to bottom. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that has been there before. They've made it to the dance before. Of course, they didn't come out on top, but this is a team that has so much talent that it's kind of hard on paper to see any team beating them, whether if they're at home or on the road. But we believe they get past the Rams this weekend, and then they're going to go to Detroit. They have the offense to match with Detroit. And if they can beat Detroit, imagine the high of beating the Rams, Detroit, and then going to the Super Bowl to face a team that you lost to a couple years ago in the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the motivation, they have the talent, and again, the difference this year, Amir, they have Saquon Barkley. Your thoughts on the Eagles?
Yeah, this Eagles team has had absolutely no flaws. The only concern that I have is like, when it comes down to it, like if the run game isn't working, can Jalen Hurts just flip that switch and air the ball out? That's the only concern that I have. But it's like, I mean, they got the receivers for it, they got the O line for it, and it's like, it don't matter what team they play, this offensive line is coming. And I keep on bringing it up. It's like the Rams have dominated up front these past weeks. Well, this week you can't do that. So it's like Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka, keep that Eagles offense off the field.
Yeah. The craziest thing to me, Amir, about this Philadelphia Eagles team is that they have a Heisman Trophy winner and they're not using them like any other team would in Devontae Smith. And number two is the Detroit Lions. Of course, they're coming off of a bye week, and before that, they had a huge statement win in Week 18 over the Vikings. Amir, they are getting healthy, right? They got Anzalone back, right? 2 weeks ago, they're getting David Montgomery back after his MCL injury. Amir, this is a team that is healthy. They're unstoppable at home, and they're going to be home. If they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, they're going to be home the next two games. I think they get past the Washington Commanders, and I think it's going to be a big battle against the Eagles, which I honestly think I would lean towards the Lions in that one, or at least I would want them to win at least. But your thoughts on the Lions? You have them at number two as well.
Yeah, this Lions team is honestly crazy, and defensively, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't even care about the defense. This offense is one of the greatest offenses I've ever seen, as far as schematically, as far as dominance, as far as the pace they play at, and this offense is built to beat anybody in honestly any type of way. And so for Detroit, the biggest thing is like don't collapse like last year.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, shoot, just start praying that Philly loses. That's really it.
Yeah, I think for Detroit, my biggest thing, take your points. I understand you're aggressive and
Yeah,
you want to carry that
the
mindset
big
into
thing.
every game. But last year, you had a golden ticket to the Super Bowl, and then you kind of threw it away, just going strictly based on the analytics. You gave away a lot of opportunities. Don't let that same mistake haunt you again this year. Detroit, get it done. Go to your first ever Super Bowl in franchise history. And at number one, is there any shock? Number 15. They're on a road that no team has ever been on, or at least this far into the season. They are trying to make history. Three straight Super Bowls. And if Patrick Mahomes, Amir, wants any debate or any argument in that GOAT debate, he needs to get this done. He needs to pull off a feat that nobody, let alone Tom Brady, has ever done. So, Amir, they are complete top to bottom. They're getting all their firepower back. And their defense, I think, is honestly at this point underrated because of how much love their
Yeah.
offense has been getting the last couple of weeks as far as the big time media. Amir, your thoughts on the Chiefs? They're at home. They're going to be home next week if they win. Can they get it done for a third straight time?
The Chiefs are great, and all people that are really hating on this team for using black magic, squeaking by all these wins, during the regular season. I'm be honest, like they're still finding ways to get it done, man. We saw last year they finished the regular season. I think they were 10-7 or 11-6,
Yeah.
and they still went all the way. I mean, they completely ran through Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore than the 49ers. And so this year, I mean, they have an even better team and an even better path as far as in the AFC. And so it's like, I mean, really, I mean, I'll probably keep on picking the Chiefs
Yeah.
until Mahomes shows me otherwise.
Yeah, at this point, we've seen it too many times where if you pick against them, you're just trying to disappoint yourself. It's kind of the same logic I had with Tom Brady. You just can't pick against them after a certain point in time. But last thing I want to throw out there, 26 playoff wins, by far and away the most coach playoff wins. At least it's the coaches left in the league today. And he has more than double than the next guy, which is John Harbaugh. So 26 playoff wins and 3 Super Bowls for Andy Reid. 15 playoff wins, which is, again, 9 more than the next closest quarterback, and 3 Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes as well. He's going for his fourth. It's just crazy to say how time is flying. Well, let's get into our final segment here on today's show, the best bets section. Every single week, we give you our favorite player prop, spread pick, and over-under on that given week. So let's get into it here. I have a line from a receiver, Amir, and we're both high in the Chiefs this week, so it kind of spoils it, but this receiver has covered this line in the last 5 games. And in 5 of the last 7, he's had at least 4 receptions. Amir, I'm going to go with the X-Man, a guy that I've had a lot on the show this year, Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy, over 4.5 receptions. We know that maybe they kind of want to give DeAndre Hopkins in the end zone, saying that it's his former team. But as far as getting the receptions, they can use this guy in a multitude of ways, and you just can't match up against speed all the time. I think Xavier Worthy is going to have a huge day here, maybe 5 or 6 receptions for this Kansas City offense. Amir, what is your player prop? It looks like you're staying in Arrowhead.
Yep. So my player prop is Isaiah Pacheco over 41.5 rushing yards. And it's crazy because this lineup again in the league was at 36.5. And so obviously, we should honestly expect a semi-big game for Pacheco. And I mean, he's covered this line in 6 out of 7 playoff games in his career. And also, too, his last 3 games he fell short, and that's only because the past 2 games he had less than 10 carries. So obviously they were kind of preserving him a little bit, and the week before that was a blowout. And so I think in this game he's going to get anywhere between like 20 to 25 carries. Case is going to kind of cruise through this game, control his clock, and honestly he should easily cover.
Yeah, again, let's not forget last year in their playoff run, he was their unsung hero on the
He
offensive
was.
side of the ball next to Travis Kelce. Our favorite spread pick on the week, and this is to me a team that I don't think wins this weekend, but I don't think it's going to be this blowout that Vegas is projecting. This is a team that has only lost by 7 or more points once this season. And when was that? Well, that was week 1 in this rookie quarterback's debut, which is, again, against the team that they just beat last week. It's the Washington Commanders. I think plus 9.5 is far too many points over on DraftKings. They're on the road against Detroit. They have the offense to match Detroit. It's whatever defense gets a stop. But as far as the bet here, Washington, they're going to put up the points. And I could see a 27-21 kind of a game where Detroit comes out on top. Amir, where are you going with your spread pick on the week?
So I'm going with an alternate spread. The Philadelphia Eagles versus the Rams. I think this game, you know, I would say it's a lock, but I was kind of leaning towards Detroit at -8.5, but they bumped
Wow.
it up even higher. And so, me personally, 9.5 is a giant spread for a team like the Commanders, who have been playing lights out. But I think this game, Philly wins, controls the clock. I think it'll be somewhat low scoring, kind of like how both games were last week. It might be it might be maybe like a 20 to like 14 game,
Yeah.
something like that. But I think Philly controls this game here.
Yeah, again, I think they were playing around with Green Bay last week, but
They
they got
were.
it done when it mattered most. And Saquon, well, he sold my touchdown parlay. I had an 8 leg in, and he was one of the only 2 that didn't hit. Regardless, my favorite over-under on the week, I'm going with an under. And Amir, you're going to follow. We're going to go with
Yeah.
an under 55.5 points in this
This is a crazy
Washington and
line.
Detroit matchup on Sunday, or excuse me, Saturday. Look, Amir, I just think, again, I know Ford Field is notorious for having a lot of points scored on that field, whether
This
at the
this this is
collegiate level or
a
at the
crazy
NFL.
line.
But 55.5, Amir,
That
that's
is insane.
absolutely insane. And I know the defenses are great, but I can just see this kind of being like that Vikings-Lions game from a few weeks ago
Yeah,
where
right.
it's going to be like 37 to 45 points scored in this game. It's just not at the 56 points for me. Your thoughts, Amir?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Like 56 points is absolutely crazy. And,
Yes.
like if they were playing I say playing maybe like the Rams or maybe even like
The
like
Eagles.
like the Bucks, right? And then maybe I'll lean in that direction. But like this Washington offense is good, but like it's not super fast paced. High powered just like all these other teams. And so I think this is going to be like more of a I wouldn't say slower pace, but it's like 56 points is just absolutely crazy.
At the NFL level, it is.
That's
And
insane.
again, I do want to say that to help, if you want to go over this line, two uber aggressive head coaches, two guys that do not believe on punting or kicking field goals on fourth down. So that's only going to help your chances to get more scoring opportunities as far as getting in the painted area. But under for the both of us, it's playoff football. Montgomery's back. I think it's going to be lower scoring than people think.